That's your eyes.
Oh yeah.
We're live, baby.
All right.
Welcome to another live episode of LAPA, Latin American Professional Alliance. I am here, chapter president East Coast, with the founder and president of LAPA, Andre Urena. So, Andre, you want to set this off?
How you doing, man? I'm doing well. We're here in Los Angeles. You're out there in Miami, man. There's been so much going on that you and I have been so swamped with just helping our current members and people that we know being able to get through this time that we're living through. In the next 3 years, man, automation is going to be it. And it's so foreign for so many, right? That you and I, even though we're sort of contemporaries, most of our contemporaries that are business owners really freak out when it comes to technology, right? And not putting those automations in place right now, you will pay dearly later. For example, our strength comes from insurance, both of us. Insurance, there's so much of a hard market happening now that you got to guard and keep that book. And you can't do it by just, most agencies that have any significant amount of premium, they can't be calling on every cancellation, every renewal, and every pre-cancel, right?
Okay.
And
can I let's go
yes,
back,
sir.
because I know you'll be on a roll. So I got to control my host here a little bit, because I got a little bit more experience here. So a couple things. One, as it relates podcasting. Okay, you said something which I'm gonna disagree with, right? And you said that they can't be calling on the cancellations. They can't be doing that. What I
try.
Oh, okay, that's there. So now we agree. So,
yeah.
So where I see it, because we both are in the same automation, and we understand the pieces. Two things is one is the fact that they can't do it without automation at the levels that automation can do it for them.
Right.
One. And two, it's not a unique problem to one agency. Every agency has it. And three, today, the way the agencies are doing, this is how an agency is doing it today. And correct me if I'm wrong. They go to every insurance company, they print out their cancellation list, they print out their pending cancellation list, and they print out their renewal list. Is that a true fact?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they hand it out to every person, whoever they need, and start calling and start texting. Now, there are some agency management systems that let you text and email the customer, right?
Yeah.
Except for it's a one-to-one basis. So if I have 50 people, I got to do it one at a time. If I have 50 people to call, what do I got to do? Make 50 calls at a time. Do you agree?
Yeah,
so the only thing I was agreeing is it's not that they can, what they can do is the frequency, the consistency, and without automation, they're staying behind. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. The amount of calls, instead of making the calls, they should be receiving the calls, because incentivization to consumer, hey, you got to text. It's something urgent. It's not snail email, it's urgent now. And that makes a hell of a lot of difference. Look at your phone. Like, how often do you pick up a text versus an email, right? Email can wait. Text is urgent, So getting agencies there has been exciting. You and I have been working with a lot of agencies lately throughout the country. And it's exciting to see those that get it, those guys that get it. It doesn't matter if you have 1, 2, 3 locations. It matters, for example, if you have 2 locations, and in each location you have 6 people on the phone selling, right? And that makes a difference, because now you have a large book of business, right? So those are the go-getters, those people that have agencies that are constantly generating, volume. How can you get to all the cancellations? How can you get to all the renewals? The way you do it is through automation, right? And full disclosure, we've been working a lot with Betty.ai, but that's where we see all these things, and it literally, life is changing right in front of our eyes. And those that get it, it's like the early adopters, right? So it's exciting to see.
So let me ask you a question. This is interesting. You and I have combined probably over 60, 70 years of experience, because we started when we were 5. And So my question to you is, we still know quite a bit of insurance agencies, several thousand. How
Right.
much, how much has commission risen for the insurance agent?
It really hasn't, like unless you have volume, you get a set commission rate, and then your book starts eroding, so your commission, you always got to be feeding the monkey, so
So to answer my question, I know sometimes it's hard for West Coast people to answer direct question. So what happens is, and I'm only joking, I love the West Coast, is the answer to the question is commissions have not risen. If anything,
no,
they've gone down.
yeah,
Okay,
look
so
at,
that's the answer. Number one. Number
yeah,
two, right? How much technology have the insurance companies implemented into their companies?
at all. They have legacy systems,
No, the insurance companies. Not
the insurance companies,
insurance companies. Okay, because before, right? The insurance company, you had to fill out a manual application. Do you agree
right,
with me? Right?
yeah,
You have to submit it, and then you would get a binder. This is for old school. You can tell how old we go back.
right,
Today, you submit an application how? Online,
online, yeah,
right? It's streamlined. When you
yeah,
submit an application, it automatically pulls what? An MVR.
absolutely.
Right?
It's the automations are
Pulls
there,
credit. It
right.
pulls claims, right? So they've invested a lot in automation. And why?
Imagine how many people they save. The customer service people no longer are purpose for that, right?
So who ends up doing more of the service? The agent. So I just
Right.
wanted to tie to make sure we're on the same page. The
Yeah.
insurance companies you represent as an insurance agency, right, are
Right.
fully figuring out ways to automate the process, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So that way, one, they can get better risks and make money, but also to streamline it. Because think about it. It's more expensive to start an insurance company today because you need the technology. But once you
Right.
get it going, right, you don't even print out the paper, the policy comes up. The
Right.
insurance agency pays for the printer,
Yeah.
owner, and everything. Yet
Absolutely.
they haven't risen your commission.
Right.
So the only way you're able to combat that is about through efficiencies. And the only way I know about being efficient, other than other processes, but the best way is through automation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? And retention, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody knows it costs more to get a new customer than it is to keep a customer, right?
Absolutely.
So then why aren't you doing everything possible to look at now in defense of the insurance agencies until, you and I discovered Betty.ai. I didn't really see a lot of them out there. Now I've seen some agency management systems doing a better job, but even with that, they don't do a good job training. The agent doesn't use it. It's all one-offs. Betty has been around for 7 years, getting a lot of good information. And it's the ability to contact mass amount of people via phone and text simultaneously to generate the client to call you back. And Betty's really about engagement.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Go ahead.
There is, I love seeing, our different customers, how they've used, now they understand that through Betty they can do automation and add steps. I mean, they're even like using it to recruit and to to hire new people. These are not original purposes that we thought that they could be used for, but it's just once the technology, once you, as an agent, you have the ability of putting, like you were saying, processes and systems in an automated way to make your calls, to do the text. I mean, you get a text and you know that text, you have to do something with it. It's like a hot potato, right? So either you press to pay the cancellation or you press to get a live person. So that reverses that dynamic on the customer service office. Instead of them making the phone calls out, now they're receiving phone calls. And guess what? It has a dialer, so you can speed it up, slow it down. You can do it from the times that they're slowest, when the agency is the slowest, and then, which is what, 11 to 2, somewhere around there, right?
Everybody's got different. I mean,
So,
I'll be honest with you is that what I have learned in talking with agents as they ask questions around Betty and working with Betty has been, everyone has different different slow times. But the point being is the times that you are slow, right? Maybe Saturdays, maybe 11 to 12, maybe certain times, you're able to be consistent in being able to go after the client that needs to pay so they don't cancel, to renew because they haven't renewed and they got 10 days left. Or what about people that have just purely canceled and they just, they need to be rewritten? Our job as insurance agents is to protect the insured, right? So we need to make sure they have coverage.
Right. No, and it's a systematic way of doing it. I remember back when we were talking about paper processes, I used to have a department I used to call Department 10. Department 10 was basically at the beginning one girl, then two. They were just calling on cancellations, on renewals, and notices of cancellation. And it was so successful for me. But you can't ask somebody to make them more than 50, 60 calls a day. With Betty, you just, however as many you want. In fact, any campaign you do, it should be over 250 customers so you can really generate. I mean, it's you pay by minute. It's not a difficult setup. And once you get it, then you really get it. We've seen some people like constantly using and increasing their use because it just makes the phone ring. I mean, they say, just remember in the old days, we used to send a mailer and the mailer was 1 to 2%. And you were happy with that response rate.
There's a response rate still there.
Yeah. And or email, use an email campaign. And then, your response rate still 3%. 2%, and you're like, how is this possible? Now, with automation, with Betty in particular, we get it up to 60%, 65%. The more you get good at using your scripts, these are scripts that we've had, over the years. So we know what makes it trigger. And it's just amazing to see that high of a responsive rate. And that's automation, and that's increasing your book, increasing your commission, increasing the activity in the agency, increasing cross sales of other things that you might want to offer your customer, increasing referrals, because now your customer has a voice and a face that he's been talking to that maybe hasn't talked to in a long time, because we're generating that phone call. So it gives power back to the agent, the way I see it, and I can't wait for all those new things, those new uses that automation brings, right? And so as an agency owner, whether it is brick and mortar or online, you have to be able to touch your book because it's a hard market. I mean, you've heard of the stories, I'm sure, in the East Coast. I hear them all the time here in the West Coast. Man, I can no longer send undocumented people to such company. Oh man, I can't, all those things that were kind of gray area. There's no more gray area, man. It's black or white. If you're submitting business, it better be in that bracket they want to, where all the loosey-goosey underwriting rules of the past, they're tight. They're tight, they can't, if a bumper is going to cost more than the storage of the car because you can't get the bumper because of the, shipping from, China, because of the pandemic, then but they pay actual cash value because they're going to lose on their fees on keeping the car. These are times that we have never seen. And reinsurance contracts and treaties, when they get renewed by insurance companies, are going to be tighter, and we're in a hard market. So you got to keep your book and do it through technology, I say,
I got it. So I'm gonna go through my by the way, Betty is a sponsor of the LAPA. We have PRS, right? Pro Risk Solutions is also
that's correct.
Sponsor of ours, and we have several other sponsors. Chase is a sponsor.
Chase Bank, yeah. And we have Dealer Track out in the
Dealer Track is
the West Coast
of ours as well. And notice we're LAPA is all about multi-service products, right?
Right.
Multi-service products. So let me break this down, because I want our listeners to get crystal clear takeaway about our discussion on automation, and our discussion on, in this case, today, is about the use of Betty and how it makes a difference.
Right.
Okay. So today you print out, like I said earlier, you print out your cancellations, you print out your renewals, and you print out your pending cancellations for non-payment, right?
Right.
And you begin calling. The challenge today, so here's the problem, right? And then I'm going to give the solution. The problem is that you have to have your people call them. They get interrupted. They get interrupted by phone calls, and you're not sure if you can reach all those people all the time.
Absolutely.
If you're lucky, you reach those people and you're either able to take action or you're not able to take action, right?
Right.
You have to leave messages. The next day you start the process again and you start calling on the next list, and then you try to cross-reference it from the list you had the other day to follow up with messages and so forth and document your piece. I mean, that's how you're doing it today, and that's how pretty much 99% of the agencies do it today. That's how you do it, right? You're printing, you're giving, you're lit. Okay, great. And that's what you've been used to. That's what everyone else has done, and no one's figured out a better way. Some of the CRMs have a way to text people when they're going to be canceled, text people when their payment. But again, you have to go in there and press a button. You have to do it yourself, do it yourself, do it yourself. Now, let's give the solution. With Betty, the only difference is you're downloading the same list that you were going to call on, except for you're downloading it or copying and pasting it into an Excel file, an importable file. You take the list. I'm giving you the simplistic version. Obviously, you want to call us and call Betty, set an appointment. We get you. We'll walk you through the whole piece as a piece of cake. The objective is we will make your phone ring. You're going to upload that list. Let's just start first with the pre-cancellations. Let's say you only have 50 pre-cancellations for that particular day. And it depends on the size of your location. You may have 250, whatever you have. You download the list. You select the ones that are canceled, let's say 5 days out, right? You take that list, you import it, easy import mechanism inside of Betty. You import it. Betty's already pre-designed, which then Betty will also teach you how to create your own automations. But right now, let's use it just exactly the way it is out of the box. We're going to, when you import it, Betty is going to, you're going to decide, I have 50. You have to determine how many people you have in your office. Let's say you have enough people in your office. You're able to say, okay, I want to make 10 calls, right? And I want to send 10 messages every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes, whatever, how it is, so you could handle the calls coming in.
Right.
The thing about that is that you'd be doing it every day at the same time on a consistent basis, and you don't have to worry about when someone's going to take care of that for you. So when you import it, the second you import it, in the scenario I gave you, you have 50. Let's say you're going to send out 10 every 20 minutes, just to make it easier. Right off the bat, 10 texts are going to go out with a dedicated number that goes to your agency. It's going to text them, letting them know their policy's up for cancellation. If you've paid it, mark paid, it takes them out of the automation. If they haven't paid it, a minute later, a call is going to go saying, hey, hi, Andre, this is Victor Arocho from Victor Arocho's insurance agency. So they know who it is. It's urgent. You speak with a live agent, press 1. You hit 1, it comes right back to your agency. Boom, that person knows because you're letting them know they could take the payment. But now your person wasn't calling. They're doing more high value items. So now
absolutely
take those calls, and then they quickly take the payment. Thank you very much for your business, and maybe mention another product.
Right.
10 minutes, we said 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, right? The next 10 are going to be text and messages. You could do it every 5 minutes. You could do it every 10 minutes. You could send out 5 messages. We'd have to show you that. But
it's awesome.
Let's say after a 50, we go through all 50 over, we do 10 every 50 minutes. So that would be 10 going to 50. It would go 5 times, every 20 minutes times 5 would be whatever minutes it is. It finishes. Out of the 50, let's say 30 people responded. Okay. They either called you or they text you. Right. Guaranteed you would have taken a payment. We're just talking about pre-cancellations. But whether it's pre-cancellations, cancellations, or renewals, you would have taken a payment, and it would have saved you from having to make a call. That person's calling your agency.
Absolutely.
Now, 20 people haven't responded. The beauty is the following day, the suggestion is the same way you would do it today. You would go print out your list. You would start the calling. But now you're going to go down your list of pre-cancellations, and you're going to just select people who are going to cancel in the future for the next 5 days. Okay.
Right.
So now it's a second set of people. Let's say that's 50. You import the 50. Okay. And the process is going to repeat itself. Well, the one part I wanted you to remind you is that the 20 people that didn't respond from yesterday, Betty's going to text them again and call them again. And out of that 20, you're going to get a percentage of response.
Right.
Today, how hard is it for you to have your people to make 3 to 4 to 5 texts and calls to your people?
And the consistency.
Consistently at the same time, on the same place every day. So then the third day, you do another 50. And, it could be 20, 50. I'm just looking pre-cancellations, right? And again, the 20. So out of those 20, let's say 10 responded of the original first day. You have 20 the next day plus the 50. It eventually ends, but you've made every attempt to help that customer and your company retain that client. It helps with engagement because they call you. Hey, Andre, I thought I was on EFT. What's going on? Oh, listen, I apologize. We just want to make sure, Andre, that everything is okay with your policy. Here at Victor Orocho Insurance Agency, we are making sure we're doing everything possible to protect our insurers. Is that okay with you, Andre?
Absolutely.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. Hey, since you responded, your commodity automation, I really thank you for your business. By the way, do you know anyone else that you could refer me to that may need auto insurance, homeowners, life insurance?
Right.
Those are things that you can do. So that's just with pre-cancels. Man, you could do that with cancels, and I would do that maybe an hour later, and then later than an hour later with renewals. So just to recap, Betty's able to replace the manual process of printing out lists, the manual process of giving it to a CSR, a customer service person, to text and to phone call, and the higher return on investment that people call you back. So
and not
you
only
make more payments.
And not only that, then you can monitor what your people are doing because you're able to keep a recording.
Oh, that's a great point.
It's training.
Great point I want to add to, but I just want to make sure we're clear, right? I don't want to confuse too much.
Yeah.
So does that make sense? Take the manual today, what everybody's doing, right?
Right.
I'll give you a quick funny story on that. Everybody's doing, and take that process and put it into automation by using a tool, Betty.ai, and let that do the work for you so you can generate more business, more retention, and so forth. So we're just taking what you're doing today and just making one little shift that's going to generate anywhere from 60 to 70% response, and you will outcompete your competitor. It is that simple. Betty works you through the whole process. We're clear with that?
Yeah, and we're here to help you.
I'm going to go to the recording next.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to give you a funny story, right? So there's a story about this mom, and she's making meatloaf, right? And she makes the meatloaf and she finishes it. And when she's done with the meatloaf, she cuts the edges. She goes to put the meatloaf in to make, and she cuts the right edge and the left edge of the meatloaf, and she cuts it off and she puts it in the oven and cooks. The daughter goes there and goes, Mom, why are you cutting the edges? She goes, I don't know. That's how my mom used to do it. She goes, that's interesting. I don't know why we do that. Let me call my mom. She calls her mom. Her mom goes, hey, Mom, I'm making a meatloaf recipe that you gave me, and I cut the edges off before I put it in. And why do you do that? She goes, that's a great point. I don't know. That's what your grandmother taught me. Let's call your grandmother. She calls the grandmother. She says, the grandmother, mom, whatever. Hey, Mom, your recipe, we bake it, blah, blah, blah. Why did you teach us to cut the edges? She goes, what are you talking? Oh, look, you don't have to cut the edges. The only reason I had to cut the edges because at that time, that was the size of the pan.
I love it. It's exactly what's happening with automation, man.
So it's the same thing that's happening with why you're doing the same thing that agents have been doing for years of calling your customers because you don't know any better, because you haven't heard about the trains. So you're making meatloaf the same way your grandmother was making meatloaf, but she had to cut the edges because the pan wasn't big enough.
That's
You
right.
had a big enough pan. You like that story?
I like it. I like it.
Gotta throw a little flavor into these pieces.
Absolutely. It
So
makes it
now,
very visual.
so I want to understand that. Let us be the teach you why you were doing it and learn from not what everyone. Don't be better than your competition because they're doing it their grandmother or grandfather's way. We're teaching you the 20th century way, right?
Absolutely.
Number one. Number two, let me get to the recording part that's valuable that I see in Betty. Look, I've owned many companies. You know, I know phone systems inside and out. Okay. My partner will tell you when we were starting an insurance company, when these guys came to sell us a phone system, he would be downstairs. He used to smoke cigarettes. Hey, you better be prepared because he's going to ask you questions that I don't think you understand. I mean, these guys are trying to sell us $4,000 phone systems, right? And we were building an insurance company. I knew I had to spend 60, 70, 100,000. There's no way you could, it's impossible, right? So if you don't have all these features, you ain't going to have them on a $5,000 system. But my point being is, everybody, businesses record their conversation for quality and training and insurance purposes. That's what you hear. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
The problem is most of them only use it when there's a problem, and then they have to go and pull the recording. Not a lot of them are very good at proactive listening, how you're selling, and all that. The beauty about Betty is when you do an import, you have it named pre-cancels. You do another import, cancellations. You do another import, renewals. For every import, it goes to a specific automation built around your policies renewing, built around your policies about to cancel for prepayment, built around policies canceled, and so you need to be insured. The beauty about that is each one of those automations are in its own little segment, and you're able to listen to all the calls and read the texts that have come in and how your people are handling when a person calls to make a payment, when a person calls about renewals, and you're able to listen to one right after the other, other.
Keeps you in the pace of the day.
Boom, boom, boom. And you're able to start helping them, right? Because you want to be cautious. You're going to say, look, let me show you how I would handle this call. And by the way, we have some best practices. The founder of this company, oh my God, the company that doesn't, I gave him the number. The company that sorry, I'm getting texts in between and I wasn't expecting.
It's okay, brother.
Before you had to pull and figure out who called where. You're able to say, hey, let's handle this better. Let's handle this better. Let's handle this better. But you're able to go through a whole bunch of calls on the same topic. Yeah. How did you handle cancellations, people that needed to make a payment? Yeah. How did my team handle when people called about their renewal? How did all these people call when they called because their policy was canceled? Yeah. Okay. That's the difference between everybody recording systems. It's purely for problems. They don't use it. Some companies are really good at using quality control, right? But this gives the agent the power to say, man, how do I improve on how my people are answering phones and how are they handling these pieces? So I just wanted to share. That was a powerful, powerful piece that I saw in Betty.
Yeah. And more coming, but it's just automation, man. We will continue at LAPA to encourage people to test, try new things, because every process will be automated within the next 3 years. And whether you want to believe it or not, you have to do something about it, because it's eroding commissions, hard market. This is going to push into automation, and we're here to help. So I'm looking forward to, reach out to my good friend Victor or myself. We both have lots of experience in insurance agencies. In fact, look, I wanted to show you, in honor of how much of an agent I was, I can't see it. But anyway, that's Oasis Insurance. real insurance, real prices. That was even before I became a different entity, bigger. You know, it's like at the beginning, and we made leather jackets back then, and I thought that was so cool. So anyway,
but by the way, for everybody out there, that's his Fonzie jacket. That's how old that is.
it is actually. My dad used to wear it.
It's a Fonzie jacket. He just happened to have his name, his insurance company name on it. So kind of funny that he's wearing it. But again, I just wanted to I wanted to give everybody the easy use in the links below. Andre, you'll be posting it on here. We're live on YouTube. I'll put it on YouTube. The links below, how to contact and get information on Betty.ai. I do want to also talk to you about Pro Risk Solutions, okay, which we have one of the executives coming on next week with us and talk about how you're able to save money and offer more benefits to your employees and at the same time save money on your FICA taxes. So imagine if I can reduce the amount of money you spend on FICA for your employees, how much more valuable would that, or how much your employees are spending on FICA. She knows it a little better than mine. We're looking forward to having that executive next week. Thank you for joining the LAPA podcast, Latin Professional Alliance. Andre Urena, as always, we always have some good insights. I'm just one of those takeover hosts, so we keep us focused. But I thought this was good. You feel good on
absolutely.
I want to stay focused on making sure our listeners get the best of the best, right?
Yeah.
Let's help you move manual to automation, help you increase and take care of your customer, right? Yeah. Keep your customer engaged at all times. I want to shout out again to our sponsors. Shout out to West Coast, a little bit over there. And Andre, I appreciate it. And now you can use that meatloaf story whenever you need to.
I love it, man. I want to be. Hey, you need to get bigger cake pans, man.
Yeah.
Pura vida. See you.
Stop cutting. Pura vida. Peace.
All right, bye. I fucking call the number.